The Hattrick, 1938 World Cup, the Netherlands. The Netherlands returned to the World Cup. They made their debut back in 1934 in Italy and have returned for their second World Cup in France. They lost their first match at the 1934 World Cup against Switzerland 3-2. That was a close match in the San Siro. But moving on to 1938, Netherlands still had the same manager, Bob Glendenning, who happens to be English. And during his playing days, where he played at Barnsley, he did win an FA Cup. So this is the second World Cup that he took Netherlands to. Few players returned, such as Kik Smit and Lynn Venti, who both scored during the 1934 World Cup in their 3-2 loss against Switzerland. Kik being their first goal scorer, that's Kik Smit, and Venti being their second goal scorer at the World Cup. Their captain also returned, Puck Van Heel. Before then, they did qualify. They were in the same group as Luxembourg, and for a second time trying to qualify for a World Cup, they were joined by Belgium once again. All three teams must play each other once in one game at home and one away game. Their home match was against Luxembourg in Feyenoord in the De Coupe. Kik Smit would once again open the scoring for Netherlands in the 29th minute against Luxembourg. He scored a couple of goals in Netherlands' last World Cup qualifying campaign in 1934. And I mentioned earlier, did score in the World Cup proper in 1934. In the second half, Piet de Boer would score in the 68th, 78th, and 87th minute for Netherlands, becoming their very first goal scorer to score a hat-trick during qualifiers for the World Cup. Luxembourg will then go up against Belgium months later and would lose that game, which meant that both Netherlands and Belgium, forgot to mention the top two teams in this group, would qualify. Netherlands and Belgium, because they both beat Luxembourg, and Luxembourg already played their two games, they both qualified. But they end up playing against each other to finish the qualifying process. The game ended in a 1-1 draw in the Bossel Stadium. Netherlands were leading in the first half in 37th minute. Henricus van Spandonk would give Netherlands the lead. Belgium do equalise in the 53rd minute in the second half. Hendrik Eisenbergs would equalise. Netherlands do finish top of the group, goal difference, and Belgium second. So this is how both of them qualified for the World Cup. Now, for the World Cup itself in 1938. Again, this is a straight-up knockout tournament. A team cannot afford to lose a match. If a team can't win the game in the first 90, the game will go up into extra time. And if after extra time, no winner, the match will be replayed a few days later. Netherlands went up against the runners-up of the 1934 World Cup, Czechoslovakia. This match took place in the Stade Jules Desacu. Wow, okay. Former stadium of Le Havre, but it's a rugby stadium these days. The first 90 minutes between these two nations, no goals were scored. But 6 minutes in to extra time, Kostelec would give Czechoslovakia the lead. And then the top scorer of the 1934 World Cup, Oldrich Nejedly, would give Czechoslovakia a 2-0 lead. And then in the 118th minute, Zeman for Czechoslovakia will finish the scoring and knock Netherlands out of the World Cup. So this outing for the Netherlands, the second time competing at the World Cup, a lot worse than the first time, failing to score. This would probably go down as Netherlands' worst performance at a World Cup. However, the Netherlands do return to the World Cup, which kind of surprised me because how long it was. But they would return to the World Cup in 1974 in Germany. The Netherlands will go on to having one of the greatest returns at a World Cup, reaching the finals. Unfortunately, they did lose to West Germany, who were the hosts of that tournament. Outside of nations that have returned and won the World Cup, such as Uruguay, that returned back to the World Cup after missing it out for 20 years, from 1930 to 1950, where they won the tournament in Brazil. You also have West Germany in 1954 returning to the World Cup, not as a united Germany, but they did return after missing out in 1950. They did win that tournament. And of course, you got France, who missed out on the 1990 and 1994 tournament, but returned as the hosts in 1998 and won the tournament. Outside of those nations, that Netherlands team that did reach the finals of 1974, one of the greatest returning nations at the World Cup. Unfortunately, they do have an unlucky achievement 4 years after 1974, where they did reach another final of the World Cup, but once again they failed to win that. They went up against the host nation in Argentina, but lost that match as well. And they are the only nation to ever reach 3 World Cup finals and failed to win any of them. They went up against Spain in South Africa in 2010. Didn't win that tournament as well. Made plenty of videos in the past. I generally believe the Netherlands is the most unluckiest nation at the World Cup. That said, the Netherlands have given so much to football, such as players, managers, football teams, given so much. I think Johan Cruyff is probably one of the most, if not the most important person to football, just what he's done for the game as both a player and manager. So yeah, you got some of the greatest teams, both internationally and on club level. They've given a lot to football, and it's unlucky that they haven't won a World Cup. They have qualified for this one in 2026. Very dominant in their group. Only dropped points for Poland, who probably their biggest threat, or biggest challenge to qualify for the World Cup. But they have, and they're in the same group as Japan, Sweden, and Tunisia. Maybe 2026. We'll see then. For now, this was the Netherlands at the 1938 World Cup in France. Thanks for watching, listening, appreciate it as usual. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, bye.